Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's say you're looking for that Partybox 310 and you're looking and looking and looking, and it's sold out everywhere. Nobody's got it. So you're thinking, is that Sony XP700 really a good option? Well, I'm going to go over 5 key aspects that it has over the Partybox 310, and then we're going to do a little comparison rocking around the Christmas tree. So let's get started. So with Christmas rolling up on us, maybe you've been looking for a Partybox 310 and think, man, this thing is sold out everywhere. Most all the Partybox speakers have been sold out. So is the Sony XP700 a viable alternative? Now, before we get into that, I will go over 5 advantages that the Sony XP700 has over the 310. Number one, price. Now the XP700 is $448 most places I've seen it. For some reason it's not quite $450, $448. Whereas the Partybox 310 is now $550. So a little over $100 price difference. Now, for some, $100 may not be a big deal. For others, when they're purchasing something like this is a big purchase for a lot of people. $100 is a lot of money. I mean, you could take that $100 and turn around and buy a W King X10, say. So then you'd have a more portable speaker. It's about like an Extreme 3 JBL. So you could have that and the Sony XP700 for the same price as the Partybox 310. So $100 is a big deal to a lot. To me, I'm kind of a tightwad. $100 is a lot of money. The number 2 advantage the Sony XP700 has over the 310 is the third tweeter. Now, I don't know if you can see this from this angle, but it has a third tweeter. It has 2 tweeters on the top and 1 on the bottom. Now, when you lay it horizontally, one of the tweeters on top is disabled and that bottom one is enabled. So you get a tweeter on each side when laid horizontal. Now, the Partybox 300 had that. It had the third tweeter. That's something that's probably the biggest gripe I have with the 310 is they eliminated that third tweeter. So if you lay this on its side, the Partybox 310, both tweeters are on the same side. So you're getting kind of an uneven sound, especially if you're closer to the speaker. You're getting all the treble coming out of one side. So it's kind of unbalanced. Now, if you're farther away, if you're playing it outside and you're 20, 30 feet away from it, it's not really that big of an issue. But in my opinion, JBL they cheaped out by getting rid of that third tweeter. The Partybox 200 also had that third tweeter. Number 3 advantage that the Sony XP700 has is the rear tweeter. Now, this was something that I thought before I got the speaker wasn't really a big deal, but if you put it up against a wall or close to a wall, you do get some extra kind of I don't want to call it a 3D effect, but you get a little bit more dimension to the upper range because you're getting that, it's bouncing off the wall, so you're getting some extra treble coming from a higher angle. And if you're behind the speaker, if you got it sitting out in the middle of a room or closer to or sideways to a wall or something like that, you get more sound coming out of the back. It's a little more even compared to the 310, which obviously has no rear tweeter. Number 4 advantage is the Sony Music Center app. Now, JBL did come out with an app for the Partybox 310, the 710, and the 110, but it doesn't have any EQ in it. It's mainly for lights is the main thing you can do with it. Whereas the Sony app does have a 3-band EQ in it. I wish they'd go at least 7, but it does at least have a 3-band EQ, and it has some options where you can access your streaming services. So the app support is much better with the Sony than with the JBL. I don't know why JBL is dragging their feet. Why would they not put an EQ option on that? And why would they not firmware update the older ones like the 300 to include that app? But they don't. And the number 5 advantage is something you probably won't see many people comment on, maybe nobody. Horizontal stability. Now, Jay, what is horizontal stability? What are you talking about? Well, I use these speakers. A lot of times I put them in the back of my Sorrento, and at work, I'm outside a lot. So I will play these outside. I'll pop the hatch up on the back play the speaker. If you're driving around with these in the back of your trunk or in your SUV, the Sony is flatter on the side, and it's the way it's weighted, it won't roll around on you. Like if you got to hit the brakes pretty hard or something, it's not going to roll on you nearly as much as the JBL. The Partybox 310, it has the little feet on the side. It doesn't have the chunky feet like the 110 has now, and it's more curved on the side. So you can kind of sit there and just take your hand and rock it while it's laying sideways. So if I take that and put it in the back, if I'm driving around with it, I have to kind of like shim some clothes or something up on each end of it or each side of it to keep it from wanting to roll around. Now it won't just roll, but it will if you hit the brakes or if you accelerate hard, it will move around more. So the Sony has much better horizontal stability. So anyway, the most important thing is, what do these things sound like? Now, there are some advantages that the JBL has. It has the telescopic handle and the wheels. So there are other advantages for people who are saying, well, Jay, you know, the Partybox does this and this. Yeah, I understand. But the problem is you can't find that Partybox, at least now anyway. So the sound quality obviously is the main thing. And I've heard seen a lot of videos where people, oh man, the Partybox, the bass is killing the Sony and it's just a much better speaker. I'm not really in that same camp with that way of thinking. I really like the Sony XP700, you know, even for the advantages I spoke of, obviously, but the sound quality I like also. So we're going to do a little sound check. We're going to start at 40%, and we're going to see what these things sound like. Now, this rocking around the Christmas tree theme, if you will, this room has hard floors, and it also has a high ceiling, so this is not the best acoustics in this particular room. But we're going to roll it that way for a Christmas theme, if you will. So we're going to start with the XP700, and we're going to start at 40%, and then we'll see what we got. JBL. JBL. Sony. Now, just from that, if you're listening to that, as they are with that right there, the Sony has, to me, it has more bass. Now, it may not be quite as clean, but it's got a deeper, it's got a more of a thump to it than the Partybox. So, as far as that right there goes, and it actually sounds a little bit clearer. The upper range has a little more detail. The 310 is not, it does not have, compared to when I compared it to the 710, the 710 had a better upper range with the clarity and the detail in the treble than the 310. And again, you cannot adjust that because, at least from JBL's app, you can't. You can get a third-party app. Anyway, let's get back to it. This is still 40%. Sony. Partybox. Sony. Partybox. Sony might be just a tad bit louder also at 40%. Let's change tracks. Let's go up to 80%. Sony. JBL. Sony. JBL. Now when you get to 80%, you can tell, I can tell the JBL has more bass output than the Sony. So lower in volume, it's not so much an issue. You get higher in volume, that JBL is retaining its bass output better than the Sony. So we'll get back to it. Sony. Partybox. Sony. Partybox. JBL. Sony. So the opinion that I have is the JBL 310 a better speaker than the Sony XP700? Yes, it is a better speaker, mainly because as you go higher in volume, now they're both pretty loud, but when you go higher in volume, the JBL does have more bass output. So if your main A1 concern is bass, the JBL Partybox 310 is better than the 700. Now you can increase that 700 if you go with third-party app. You can boost the bass up a little bit. It's capable of handling some more bass, so if you want to do that, you can. But it does have a lot of advantages, the Sony does, over the JBL, in my opinion, and I like the Sony. I use it, like I said, in the back of my SUV quite a bit because I like that stability. I don't have to worry about it rolling around. So if you need something and you can't find the JBL, the Sony really isn't that much of a lesser option, and plus it's $100 less price-wise. So take that for what you want and decide for yourself, but I would not hesitate to buy that Sony XP700 for the advantages, and it's a good sounding speaker. It really is a good sounding speaker. So anyway, that's the end of this little rocking around the Christmas tree episode of Jay Straight Up Reviews. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. I'm gonna try to get a video out pretty quick about, I'm gonna call it a squash match, where the Partybox 710 goes up against this Sony XP700, the XP500, and the XG500. A 3-on-1 match. Can those three actually hang with the Partybox 710? So if you don't watch that, if I don't make it for some reason, y'all have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully I'll have it out before the New Year at least anyway. That's a wrap.